the sky while we give her on the mind. Listen, listen like a sweet touch on my mind.
Yo, we building up the future on this highway we roam. Civil engine in the mix, yeah, we give it a home. Cruciality through the sound, roundabouts of design. Putting pieces in the place, make the vision align. The freeways flow like that, let the rhythm take control. Knocking out the projects, yeah, we're on the roll. Transporting dreams while we sketch and recreate. In this 3D world, it's a civil engine space. We're building bridges through the sky, Washington, our spirits flow. Sense of life to watch like it's a can life, those so cruising for house and above. Want the land is in love, in the body of young, up the land of am, holding earth apart. This is golden shoot with the earth above. Yo, every roundabout spins with a purpose refined, salt and landscapes.
Hello yet again and welcome back to Civil Visualizing with Sam. This is episode 7, and in this episode we are going to take an amazing base model from our friends over at Verge in Washington State DOT. Shout out to Kurt and Ron for putting this together. This was originally a microstation file and sent over as OBJ. And this is the SR 5R9 Expressway, Puget Sound in Washington State. It's an extension that goes from this I-5 freeway, and then it cuts through and connects over here to the 509. I'm going to put a link in the description. They did a much better video from their own Viz team showing how this project works, but this is going to serve as an incredible example of what Civil Engine can do, both in terms of speed and efficiency and also quality. So again, this was sent over from them, so I don't have it open in SketchUp as I usually do, but we can go to Civil Engine and import base model. And as a note, this is still Civil Engine beta. This is between beta 1 and beta 2. This is in February of 2025, so we're still a few months away from the public launch. So things may look a little bit different when you're watching this video. All right, so we need to switch from FBX to OBJ, find our file. I'm gonna leave the settings default. Again, these guys are professionals, so not only did they make a good base model, but they exported it with the settings that would come in correctly into Civil Engine. So we'll leave it here at meters and finish import. All right, so that took maybe a minute. And one other note too is you're gonna see this clock over here on the left. That's to just give you an indication of how long this has taken me. I always try and give note of that at the end of the video, but this way you can see for sure that I'm not trying to cheat, just so that you can get a reference of how long it may take for you to visualize your own base model in Civil Engine. And I will make note if I do have to pause for any reason. All right, so you can see here this model, it's not only a great and detailed model, but it's also massive. So I'm going to start over on the south end. And I'll try and make note too of navigation. Sometimes I double right click and that zooms into whatever point that you're pointing to. And so we can see here, we've got this interchange here, which if we go back to Google Maps, we can identify what this is connecting to. So it looks like this is this interchange here with the 516. And you can see there's some changes that are going to be made as part of this design. Again, this is the I-5 going through here to the middle. The first thing I'm going to do, usually I texture first, but I'm actually going to set up some cameras first. And part of this is for navigation because this is such a massive model. And part of this is because I want to do some before and after renders. And so I'm going to start making some renders here in the very beginning so you can see how we go from this model to the final production. So let's go to the publisher. Let's go to video. And actually, let's just go to image and add the plus button to create a new camera set. And so we'll create this first one. We'll rename these as well. So we'll call this the 516 interchange. And we can add labels later that will give more detail there. We've got this little one over here. So it looks like this is Veterans Drive right here. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our settings and go to camera and just turn up sensitivity. If you're dealing with a really big model, this will just help you move around a lot quicker, so you don't have to click and drag as much. That's probably a little too much, so let's turn it down to 2. All right, this is 216th Street. Just call this the flyover. All right, so I've got my interchanges and intersections, so we can zoom through those really quickly if we need to navigate. And again, to navigate, you just go to the one, so 26th Avenue, close the publisher, and you're there. All right, I'm going to do a few video cameras as well, and then make a few test renders.
It's a civil engineer's pride.
We're building futures, not just dreams. In Washington, it is architects of schemes.
Don't push rappers win in space. Stop around me with the dominant ears of FEs. While they charming up a beat in the casualties. This the Yama shot, watch a lot that stop. What's he can call a day, say my fallen dot. But what's the movie she giving, never best to her. Think all the gas know they're supporting the bloom. Well, they know all the that of my there with the phone.
All right, so I took the preliminary renders, and it's kind of like if you're doing a weight loss challenge, before and after. And another thing you'll see me do is go here to settings, and we have editor settings, and what we can do here is turn off different settings. So if we want shadows full quality, we want to do ultra, we can apply that. This will make more sense when I have trees and everything else. And then if you want it to run faster, you're not as worried about quality because you're building, you can do Lotus. That's going to turn off shadows and anti-aliasing and all this stuff. And then obviously there's a few settings in between. So you'll see me change those depending on if I'm working or if I want things to look as good as possible. All right, so we want to first start with texturing now that we've done our cameras, at least some of our cameras. So go to hierarchy, go to base models. This is still beta. We will have some paintbrush tools, but we don't have those yet. So for now, I got to select the submesh components and then change those as necessary. So over here on the left, you'll see the details panel. I'm going to click this paintbrush, and what that's going to do is going to let me select from a drop-down from the material library within Civil Engine. You'll notice to edits to textures can take a little while, especially on larger projects. So we want to choose one of the textures. Let's choose a grassy one. This is in Washington, where they believe in green things. I'm from Nevada, where we like everything to be brown and tan. And there we go. Things are already looking good with the new grass texture. All right, so now I'm going to just kind of go through these and change these textures as necessary. Some of them won't be, especially if they're aerials. The aerials are looking pretty good. So I'll just go through these and get everything textured the way it should be.
Yeah, out of the lava, no white spinners alone. Cause Steve, a lot of people fleeing the true for whichever make just call it. Too cold, only was died from cold, the lights go on. When every keystroke will be defined in the scheme, visuals in 3D, bringing light to the dream. Puget Sound vibes where the waters reflect, weaving highways together with utmost respect.
We're building pathways through the clouds. In Washington, we make our families proud.
Concrete jungles bright, where ideas ignite, taking the vision from the dark into the light. From Seattle's trees through the mountains embrace, Civil Engine united with carbon and space.
We're staring through the vision as the blueprint survive in Washington State. The dreams we realize.
From the pavement to the skylines, everything is sync. 3D visualizations got us right on the wing. Mapping transitions with the highways intertwined. We're the voices of the future in this simple design.
Building roads that redefine the path to be. In about north, the northwest. Step to lane.
Either line is perspective.
All right, so we're about 30 minutes in, and we've got everything textured now. But before I go any further, I want to make sure and save it. And just as a note, when you save these files, they are going to be large, especially when there are a lot of aerials involved. So this file is probably around 1 gigabyte, and might grow a little bit, but honestly, most of that file storage is in saving the geometry and aerials. When you place stuff, it really doesn't take that much more extra space. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is place the trees. This is going to be a pain because we don't have our brush tool yet. That's coming soon. But I do have some tricks with the path tools that I can use. And I want to just use Google Earth again to kind of see what kind of trees we're dealing with, just to get some level of accuracy. All right, so we got a mix of broadleaf and conifer, which is fine. And we'll try and do some sort of similar mix. In here we even have some fall colors. That's something that we can do in Civil Engine that makes everything look a little bit nicer as well. So we'll try and get a good mix of these trees in Civil Engine. So the way you do that, and I think what I'm going to do is just hand place all of the trees close to the roadway, and then use some path tricks for things further away where detail isn't as important. So nature trees. So we've got some oak trees, we've got some maple trees. Again, the quality, let's turn up the quality so we can get a better idea. We'll try on these. So I'm just kind of seeing what we have here. These are the oak ones, maple. I think I'm going to use a combination of oak, maple, and then these pine trees down here to get the blend that we want. So it's 2:17. Again, you can see my clock, and we're about 33 minutes in. And this is going to take me a while, so I'm going to speed this part up. But feel free to check the time just to get an idea of how long this is take me. Again, we don't have our brush and area tools available yet, but when we do, this stuff's going to go much faster.
We're drawing up the plans. Crafted futures now to stand the test of time. Betting on our skills, every project, every line. With precision in our hands, we engineer and design. From the skyline to the water, making pathways align.
We're building dreams with every step we take. In Washington, it's the moves we make.
Rivers and the valleys, we embrace the terrain. Every roundabout relay keeps the flow in the lane. From the city to the mountains, our vision will break. Civil engine on the rise, it's the history we'll make.
From bridges to the borders, we innovate the scene. Transforming landscapes like a well-oiled machine.
With every design, we're building our fate in the land of the free. Washington's great state. We'll think of progress, watch the future await. In the civil hustle, there's no room for mistakes. Roundabouts spinning like the wheels of our mind, connecting every piece as the visions of one. From the coast to the city, let our plans take flight. In the glow of the skyline, to our dreams we write. We innovate the blueprints, protecting our core. Layer by layer, we're constructing it all. Elevating the game from KD to the dream. In Washington State, we're part of the team.
With civil engines, we innovate the scene. Transforming the skyline, our vision stays keen.
From the planning to reality, our paths intertwine. Designing the future with the heart and mind. Puget Sound echoes with the hustle and grind. In this urban canvas is progress we find. Where civil end is always here to stay. Free visualization, paving the way. The field what the field, we have the plan. Designing the future, every woman and man. In Washington alone, where we lay down the track. Mapping our solutions, never looking back. Puget Sound vibes where the rivers run clear. Building roads of tomorrow with purpose sincere. We're civil enders making strides every day. Crafting infrastructure in the Northwest we play.
the sky while we live on the minds. Listen, listen like the sweet touch on my mind.
Yo, we building up the future on this highway we roam. Civil engine in the mix, yeah, we give it a home. From Seattle to the sound, roundabouts to design. Putting pieces in the place, make the vision align. The freeways flow like that, let the rhythm take control. Knocking out the projects, yeah, we're on the roll. Transporting dreams while we sketch and recreate. In this 3D world, it's a civil engine space. We're building bridges through the sky, Washington, our spirits flow. Sense the light to watch like it's a can light, those so cruising for house and above. Of the land is in love, and invited you of the land of ammo that earned upon. This is golden shoot with the earth above. Yo, every roundabout spins with a purpose refined, sculpting landscapes. We leave no dream behind. From blueprints in the streets, watch the visions collide. Innovations flow, it's a civil engineer's pride.
We're building futures, not just dreams. In Washington, it is architects of schemes.
Don't push rappers win in and space. Stop a bomb, with the dominant ears of fees. While they charming up a beat in the casualties. This the Yama shot, watch the light that stop. What's he can call a day, stand my fallen dock. And what's the movie she giving, never best to her. They got the gas, know they're supporting the blow. Well, they know all the that of my, but there with the flow. Yeah, out of the lot, but no white spinners who blow. Cause Steve, a lot of people fleeing the true foe. Whichever make just call it. Too cold, only was died from cold. The lights go on. With every keystroke we're redefining the scheme. Visuals in 3D, bringing light to the dream. Puget Sound vibes where the waters reflect. Weaving highways together with utmost respect.
We're building pathways through the clouds. In Washington, we make our families proud.
All right, so it is now Monday. I was recording last on Thursday. It took me about maybe 3.5 hours to place trees. I think I'm a masochist because I am obviously heavily involved in the development of this product, leading the development of this product, and I know that we're gonna have an area placement, brush placement tool within days probably, but I'm a glutton for punishment because I couldn't wait. I wanted to place them, so I did them one by one. The result is that this is looking super nice, in my opinion. I think it did end up being more organic than what it would have been with a brush tool. You can see I've got a mixture of fall trees, I've got a mixture of conifer and deciduous trees, and I think it's going to look beautiful once we get going. I've also placed them in 2 folders in the hierarchy, so if I unlock them, you want to keep these locked when you're placing because you can just see all these selector icons. You don't want all those going. So if I turn them off, this is what it looks like before the trees. This is what it looks like with the trees. You can see it's looking really nice. Let's get those locked. And if I zoom out, this is kind of what it looks like from afar. So I didn't place trees everywhere in the distance, but I think I placed them everywhere pretty much that you will see them when we're flying through this project like we will be toward the end. So I think this is going to be looking beautiful, especially once we get the cars placed in here. Also, as I see areas that need cleanup, like right here, this is distracting to me to have the trees going through the barrier rail. So what I need to do is just unlock that, find that tree, and then just move it back. So also I'm running into a few bugs. One of them, there's a path placement bug. I've just been kind of testing out paths, and hopefully this will be fixed by the time you're using Civil Engine yourself. But essentially, if you're placing a path, there's like this, plus sign that kind of falls out in front, and if you accidentally click on that plus sign, it crashes. And another bug is sometimes when I select one of these folders, then it tries to do that selection glow on all of them, and it's just too much. So you got to be careful selecting these folders, especially if it's unlocked. But overall, great progress. This is a magnificent project. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a few more trees, but I'm going to do these in the proposed areas. I don't have the landscaping plan here, and apologies to Kurt and his team if this is not the way it would be, but I do want to put some trees in these proposed areas. I don't think that they would be left barren, especially in a place like Washington that actually gets some rain. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to move on to traffic placement, which will also take me a significant amount of time. So this project is going to take a while, but I think it's going to be worth it because the end result is going to be beautiful. Hopefully you learned something along the way, and we can show how powerful Civil Engine is, not just for those small, little roundabout projects, but for these multi-mile long corridors if you do have a good base model like we have in this case. All right, so the landscaping trees, the ones that look best to me are these beech trees, and they are kind of generic looking, and that's kind of what we want for landscaping. We don't want something to be too distracting. And so I'm going to kind of put clumps of trees together, and then I'm going to mix up the different styles as much as possible. And then I'm also going to sneak in a few fall trees because that's what we've got with our existing trees. So I think between all of this, we can start to get some really nice proposed trees for our landscaping. And so I'm going to go through all the areas and do that, and then again I'll move to traffic.
Where ideas ignite, taking the vision from the dark into the light, from Seattle's trees through the mountains embrace. Civil Engine united with carbon and space.
We're staring through the vision as the Brooklyn collide in Washington State. The dreams we realize.
From the pavement to the skylines, and everything is sick. 3D visualizations got us right on the wing. Mapping transitions where the highways intertwine. We're the voices of the future in this simple design.
Building roads that you find the path to be. In about north the northwest. Never too late.
Need aligning perspectives, we're drawing up the plans. Crafting futures that will stand the test of time. Betting on our skills, every project, every line. With precision in our hands, we engineer and design. From the skyline to the water, making pathways align.
We're building dreams with every step we take. In Washington, it's the moves we make.
Represent the valleys, we embrace the terrain. Every roundabout relay keeps the flow in the lane. From the city to the mountains, our vision will break. Civil Engine on the rise is the history we will make.
From bridges to the borders, we innovate the scene. Transforming landscapes like a well-oiled machine.
With every design, we're building our fate in the land of the free. Washington's great state. We'll think of progress, watch the future await. In the civil hustle, there's no room for mistakes. Roundabouts spinning like the wheels of our mind, connecting every piece as the visions of one. From the coast to the city, let our plans take flight. In the glow of the skyline, to our dreams we write. We innovate the blueprints, protecting our core. Layer by layer, we're constructing it all. Elevating the game from KD to the dream. In Washington State, we're part of the team.
With civil engines, we innovate the scene. Transforming the skyline, our vision stands keen.
From the planning to reality, our paths intertwine. Designing the future with the heart and the mind. Future sound echoes with the hustle and grind. In this urban canvas is progress we find. Where civil engines always here to stay. 3D visualization paving the way. The field what the field we elevate the plan. Designing the future, every woman and man. In Washington alone where we lay down the track. Mapping our solutions, never looking back. Future sound vibes where the rivers run clear. Building roads of tomorrow with purpose sincere. We're civil engines making strides every day. Crafting infrastructure in the Northwest we play. Jungle's bright where ideas ignite. Taking the vision from the dark into the light. From Seattle's trees through the mountains embrace. Civil Engine united with carbon and space.
We're staring through the vision as the Brooklyn collide in Washington State. The dreams we realize.
From the pavement to the skylines, and everything is sick. 3D visualizations got us right on the wing. Mapping transitions where the highways intertwine. We're the voices of the future in this simple design.
Building roads that you find the path to be. In about north the northwest. Never too late.
Need aligning perspectives, we're drawing up the plans. Crafting futures that'll stand the test of time. Betting on our skills, every project, every line. With precision in our hands, we engineer and design. From the skyline to the water, making pathways align.
We're building dreams with every step we take. In Washington State, it's the moves we make.
Rivers and the valleys, we embrace the terrain. Every roundabout relay keeps the flow in the lane. From the city to the mountains, our vision will break. Civil engine on the rise is the history we'll make.
From bridges to the borders, we innovate the scene. Transforming landscapes like a well-oiled machine.
With every design, we're building our fate in the land of the free. Washington's great state. We'll think of progress, watch the future awake. In the civil hustle, there's no room for mistakes. Roundabouts spinning like the wheels of our mind. Connecting every piece as the visions of one. From the coast to the city, let our plans take flight. In the glow of the skyline, to our dreams we write. We innovate the blueprints, protecting our core. Layer by layer, we're constructing it all. Elevating the game from KD to the dream. In Washington State, we're part of the team.
With civil engines, we innovate the scene. Transforming the skyline, our vision stays keen.
From the planning to reality, our paths intertwine. Designing the future with the heart and the mind. Future sound echoes with the hustle and grind. In the serving.
All right, so that took or maybe an hour and a half to place all those proposed trees, and I did experience a few crashes. That's gonna just be the case when you work with these large models, but just be aware of that. So this, again, looking so nice. I did different landscaping for the different parts of this project. Part of that is because that might be expected on different ends of a project, on different sides of the freeway. The other part is selfishly, I want to be able to use this for some really cool marketing. And if I make this look like two projects, then it will go further for my marketing stuff. So that's just a selfish reason for myself. So anyway, I got these cool poplar trees up here. Probably wouldn't be used for landscaping, but it looks great. And then over on the other end, I kind of went heavy on those birch trees. Not there. Let's go over to the other end. Here we go. Here in the middle, you can see again how nice this is looking. And I'm also utilizing water. This is something that if you can get away with it, it's just going to make it look that much nicer. And a lot of times, especially in a wetter climate like Washington State, there really would be water in these retention basins, and so it's not that unrealistic. I will note that the water, it was causing some of the crashes, I think. I don't know if it's the water specifically, but when I was like rotating and scaling it, I had a couple crashes. So just FYI. And we can turn off all the landscaping like this, and you can just see how much that's adding to our overall project. Again, trees are just a cheat code in themselves, so if you can use them, I would highly recommend it. And in the real world, there are just so many trees, so try and use those where you can. And I did do some landscaping along this. I don't know if it would be like that in reality, but it did look kind of funny to have all the barren cuts and fills, and so I put those in there. If I do pass this by my friends that created it over at Washington State Verge, then maybe they'll tell me to remove them, and maybe I will. But for now, I think it's adding. And again, here's another retention basin that the water just really adds to what's going on in this project overall. So, got the trees, got the water, took, I don't know how many hours, 5 hours into this project. I do hope to get this all wrapped up this week. Hopefully less than 10 hours overall. I am able to cheat and use artistic license in a way that you wouldn't be able to on an actual project. And I'm actually doing client work, and so I'm using Civil Engine on real client work, and it works just as well, but you do have to spend more time, putting signs exactly where they need to go, or making sure the traffic is representative. So it is a different problem, but but Civil Engine still works well for actual projects in addition to these kind of example projects that I've been using it for. So the next big task is, actually, before I do that, just as a reminder to save often. It's pretty easy. You know, if you're just placing trees, that save's probably going to go pretty quickly. If you're importing a big base model with aerials, that's going to take longer. But then we also have auto backup. And if that's not on, I recommend going and turning that on. What that's going to do is every 15 minutes, it will save a backup version of it. I think it's called a CET for Civil Engine Temporary. And if you need to use that, you just go and rename it as .ce, and it will open fine in Civil Engine. And I'll create more content on how to do that in the future, but just FYI. All right, so the next thing I've got to do is place traffic. And this is going to be another one of those beasts where I'm just going to keep recording my screen, but turn off the audio, jam to some podcasts or something, and just chug through it. In the future, I would love to have some auto path generating tools using AI. But for now, you just have to do it, especially on these long projects. So I'll do that, and then I'll jump back in.
Canvas is progress we find. Civil Engine is always here to stay. 3D visualization paving the way. To feel what the field we have ate to plan. Designing the future, every woman and man. In Washington alone where we lay down the track. Mapping out solutions, never looking back. Puget Sound vibes where the rivers run clear. Building roads of tomorrow with purpose sincere. We're Civil Engines making strides every day. Crafting infrastructure in the Northwest we play.
Lit the sky while we ever on the minds. Listen, listen like a sweet touch on my mind.
Yo, we building up the future on this highway we roam. Civil Engine in the mix, yeah, we give it a home. From Seattle to the sound, roundabouts to design. Putting pieces in the place, make the vision align. The freeways flow like that, let the rhythm take control. Mapping out the projects, yeah, we're on the roll. Transporting dreams while we sketch and we create. In this 3D world, it's a Civil Engine space. We're building bridges through the sky, Washington, our spirits flow. Sense the light to watch like it's a can light, close so cruise and files in the blood. Want the land is in love, in the body of young, off the land of am, holding earth upon. This is golden shoot to the earth above. Yo, every roundabout spins with a purpose refined, sculpting landscapes. We leave no dream behind. From blueprints in the streets, watch the visions to lie. Innovations flow, it's a Civil Engineer's pride.
We're building futures, not just dreams. In Washington, it is architects of schemes.
Don't boys rappers win in space. Stop around me with the dominant ears of FEs. While they charming like a beat in the casualties. This the Yama shot, watch the light that stop. What's he can call a day, send my fallen dot. But what's the movie she giving, never best to her. Think all the gas know they're supporting the blow. Well, they know all the Zeta Mox, but they're with the phone. Yeah, out of the lava, no white spinners who blow. Cause Steve, a lot of people fleeing the true foe. Whichever make just comment. Too cold, only was died from cold. The lights go on. With every keystroke, we're redefining the scheme. Visuals in 3D, bringing light to the dream. Puget Sound vibes where the waters reflect. Weaving highways together with utmost respect.
We're building pathways through the clouds. In Washington, we make our families proud.
Concrete jungles bright, where ideas ignite. Taking the vision from the dark into the light. From Seattle's trees through the mountains embrace. Civil Engine united, we're carving the space.
We're staring through the vision as the blueprints collide in Washington State. The dreams we realize.
From the pavement to the skylines, and everything is sync. 3D visualizations got us right on the wing. Mapping transitions where the highways intertwine. We're the voices of the future in this civil design.
Building roads that we find the path to be. In a part of the Northwest.
Need aligning perspectives, we're drawing up the plans. Crafting futures now to stand the test of time. Betting on our skills, every project, every line. With precision in our hands, we engineer and design. From the skyline to the water, making pathways align.
We're building dreams with every step we take. In Washington. directions in. It's the moves we make.
Rivers and the valleys, we embrace the terrain. Every roundabout we make keeps the flow in the lane. From the city to the mountains, our vision will break. Civil engine on the rise is the history we'll make.
From bridges to the bullets, we innovate the scene. Transforming landscapes like a well-oiled machine.
With every design, we're building our fate in the land of the free. Washington's great state. We'll think the progress, watch the future await. In the civil hustle, there's no room for mistakes. Roundabout spinning like the wheels of our mind. Connecting every piece as the visions of one. From the coast to the city, let our plans take flight. In the glow of the skyline to our dreams we write. We innovate the blueprints, protecting our core. Layer by layer, we're constructing it all. Elevating the game from KD to the dream. In Washington State, we're part of the team.
With civil engines, they innovate the scene. Transforming the skyline.
All right, so I want to jump back in. I've placed the mainline traffic. Again, I know that this is going to take a while, but it's worth it. And you can see here, I mean, we're going pretty fast. We can slow this down. But again, just very majestic views. And it's just a combination of the power of Civil Engine and what we have, you know, with Unreal Engine 5 and this incredible base model from our Verge friends over at Washdot. And you know, some time and effort, we're starting to get some really good quality results. So we're going to keep going at this. And the great thing about this project is it's multiple projects in one. Like, we've got this mainline highway stuff, but we also have, you know, some roundabouts, we have some intersections. So we're going to be able to flex the muscles of Civil Engine, you know, in regards to traffic and intersection controllers, in addition to trees and textures and cameras. This is a path camera. And so there's just a lot of different things that we can do with this project, showing how versatile Civil Engine can be. So another thing too is the wear pass that's part of these traffic paths. You can see just how much that adds to the realism. And looks like we could use some cleanup in some of these. But essentially, we still got a lot of traffic to place, and unfortunately, there's not a faster way to do that, at least not at this point. But still, this is coming along really well. So I'll jump back in after I've either placed more or all of the traffic.
From the planning to reality, our paths intertwine. Designing the future with the heart and the mind. Puget Sound echoes with the hustle and grind. In this urban canvas is progress we find.
All right, so I'm back. It is now Tuesday afternoon. I just got to apologize. I'm not going to be able to record, to show every single frame that I'm working in this project. It's just become too unwieldy. I also ran into a few pre-production bugs that kept causing it to crash. So now I'm working in the Unreal Engine editor while my dev team fixes those crashes. So when you're in the Unreal Engine editor, the frame and the performance dips. So now you can see here it's getting pretty laggy, and that's okay, because again, I'm just working to finish this, and then I can render out high quality videos to make it look nice, and hopefully I'll be able to work in the actual build in the future as well to get some better performance. But I've placed pretty much all the traffic paths. I'll turn on the path visualizers. That's what they look like. You can see here the combination of the traffic and the trees is starting to make for some really nice views. And then another cool thing is turn off the path visualizers. Also want to do this just to show some of the things you can do. If I go to this folder, which has all of these paths, I have a pathway arrow that looks something like this. And so sometimes you can turn on the pathway arrows underneath a traffic path, but on this one I wanted to do 2 paths, just again to show how you can use these pathway visualizers to show various movements. And I think this looks really nice. So that's just something that you could do when you're working in Civil Engine, is utilize those visual graphics, pathway visualizers, area highlights to kind of show various aspects of your project and to draw attention as you need to. And again, this is really choppy, but as we render it out, we can get smooth performance as in those rendered video files. So that's this end. I also want to just jump over to a few other parts of the project. By now you've probably seen some of the final renders, so you already know that this is turning out nice. This is a path camera that I have set up, and you can see here we have these underpasses, these overpasses. And let me just stop here to show what I've done here. So by default, the base model didn't have a fence on this, but in reality you would. And then it's also got these shared use paths. And so I have some shared use traffic, which is joggers, scooters, and cyclists going over those. And the reason is when the camera goes under, then hopefully we'll see some of those pass by. It'll just make our project more dynamic. Again, you know, utilizing a path camera like this, we can get the traffic on the main line, but then also the vehicles and the pedestrians on the overpass. You can see that cyclist going over at the very top of your screen. And then again, the trees, the fall colors, we're just really able to utilize the asset library within Civil Engine to pull this off. And then finally, over here on what I believe is the north side, let's go to our image cameras so we can fly around. We've got this 5/16 interchange. And this is kind of 2 interchanges in one. We have the veterans one over here at the top of your screen and the 5/16 down here. One thing I don't love about this model is it uses the aerial for the texture on the freeway. And so when everything else is looking so nice, I'm going to avoid direct view of that because it's not going to look as nice and clean as all these textures and assets in Civil Engine. So I also have the traffic placed here. One reason why I want to jump in right now though is because we need to now set up our intersection controllers. And one thing to note is, again, we're pre-launch, but I think we're going to keep intersection controllers as kind of beta features because there's just a lot we still need to work on to make them work for dynamic intersections and multi-intersection layouts. But they are still very useful. And so I'm going to tie these in together. Right now you're going to see these pedestrians, these cars that are all running through each other, and it's a lot of carnage. So what we want to do is tie those together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off a lot of these things. All of these trees and textures and everything look beautiful when you're making renders, but they really slow things down. So I can turn those all off because I have them in folders in the hierarchy, and then the traffic, I will just turn the traffic off down here. And then again, in the editor settings, you can go to lowest presets, apply, and now I'm going to be able to move around a little bit easier than I would have otherwise. So for intersection controllers, we have multiple that we're going to use here. We have this one down here in the bottom of your screen, and then up here on the top left, we're going to have another one, and then we're going to have 2 more on the Veterans Parkway. And then if we're feeling ambitious, we may do some in the roundabouts over on the other end. But usually roundabouts you can get away with just turning the traffic down. But here we definitely can't. So we go to traffic. We want to go to intersections and then create an intersection. And I've done my best to name these paths. And so we want to add the paths that will correspond here. So all these ones are just traffic, whatever, like those are not part of this because I've not renamed them. But we have this 5/16 loop, add path. We've got we already did that one. 516 West 1, 516 West 2, 516 East 1, 516 East 2, and 516 West 3. And then we also want to throw in these pedestrian paths as well because they're going to interact. So let's get those all in there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is set the stop bars, and then we can set up our phases. So to do the stop bars, you're going to want to, actually I think this loop, yeah, we do want to do that because it's going to be this one right here, and it's going to interact with those pedestrians. So you just want to scrub along the spin bar and then set it where it needs to go. I think we may use another intersection controller for this path, but for this intersection, that's where we want to put it. Now we got the West 1. Again, we've tried to make these stop bars really big and obvious so that you can find them. All right, and then I've also noticed that we're going to need to get the main lines one in there because that's actually the ones that are conflicting. Everything else is going to be able to go through. So let's go to, we actually might need to rename main line. Yeah, so we got 3, 4, 5. Let's see which ones these are. Unlock. All right, so we just have traffic all 5. And we've got, what's this other one? All right, 516 South 1 and 516 South 2 in addition to that main line 5. All right, so back to here. Then we got to get that main line, which is the 5. This one, it's like 5 miles long, so it's going to be interesting to try and find this one. So I'm going to save this before I move forward. Now we need to set up our phasing. So phase 1 is going to be long, and that one's going to be these west and south and the pedestrians. So not the loop, but all the west and south and the pedestrians. Phase 2, let's make that one, so let's make this one 40. Let's make phase 2 20. And phase 2, let's have it be these, all right, so now we need to turn on our traffic. Let's turn off our visualizers. And let's speed things up. All right, so I think this is looking pretty good. Up here, you know, this traffic stopping seemingly unnecessarily. That's because it's waiting for pedestrians. I just don't have a ton of pedestrian density there. But that way, at least you're not going to get cars driving through the pedestrians, like right there. That's what we want. That's pretty close to what we want. Maybe we need to do our yellow and red time. But overall, I think this is heading in the right direction for this intersection. All right, so let's turn off traffic, turn on our path visualizers, and let's head over to this other intersection and do this again. This is intersection 2. So again, we need to go find these 516 paths.
The land is always here to stay. Free visualization paving the way. To feel what the feel, we elevate the plan. Designing the future.
All right, so assuming we selected all these correct ones, then we're going to start setting the stop bars. Again, those pink bars are going to be set into place. By default, they're at the beginning of the path.
Woman and man, in Washington alone where we lay down the track. Mapping out solutions, never looking back. Puget Sound vibes where the rivers run clear. Building roads of tomorrow with purpose sincere. We're civil enders making strides every day.
All right, so we have these all, we have the stop bars. Let's see if we can do this with 2 phases. I'm not trying to do anything too complex with turn movements in this one. So let's get this as 40 and 20 again. And then we want the west and the east to go through together. We'll leave all those as one. This loop ramp, I think we want that to be 1 as well. This off ramp, we want that one to be 2. Veterans to be 2. Peds, I think we want the peds to be part of the 1, but then we want these ones to be 2. All right, I think we're missing one of them. Let's see which one it is. Try to recall. This one is veterans. Okay, so all right, so I think we've set up this phase. Let's turn on our traffic. Let's turn off our path visualizers. Just set it to 5x and see what we've got. And I think some of the lack of traffic is because we have traffic coming on the main line and it's just going to take a while to get here. So let's speed, oh, here we go. There's the main line traffic. So now we'll really get to see what this is looking like. All right, so I think we are doing well. We just need to just make our signal time shorter, and then let's make our yellow and red longer so we don't get pedestrians run over. And let's do the same thing on the other side. And then that's the real trick, is to see if this is working for both intersections. And other than those pedestrians almost getting hit, it looks like we are about to do that again. I think if we get our red duration to 6, that might help us. All right, then I want to save it. So let's zoom out and see if we can see both intersections at the same time to see if this is working. All right, cool. I think it's working. Okay, so we still have a few more intersections to do, but before we do that, I want to show another trick of Civil Engine. Again, these things are early and still in beta, but I've left these traffic signals on our base model because I want to put some dynamic assets. So let's go to signals, and we can mount the signal head. If it's part of the base model, it'll just kind of stick to it. If it's a master arm from our asset library, unfortunately you have to like set it on the ground and lift it up. It's just a known bug. But we can use the same signal head for both of these. Click and drag. And then to connect these to the intersection controllers, you need to make sure the signal is set to off. We want to link this to intersection 1, and then we want the go phase, I believe, to be 2. And again, these are instances, so when you change one, it will probably it should change both of them. Sometimes you have to kind of reset it. And now we can see, yep, so it goes green as the traffic goes. So that's really nice. Now we want to do them over here in this direction, but we need to make a new instance in our dynamic assets. So let's go to signals.
Lit the sky while we ever on the minds. Blessing. Just like a sweet touch on my mind.
Yo, we building up the future on this highway we roam. Civil engine in the mix, yeah, we give it a home. Puget through the sound, roundabouts of design. Putting pieces in the place, make the vision align. The freeways flow like that, let the rhythm take control. Knocking out the projects, yeah, we're on the roll. Transporting dreams while we sketch and we create. In this 3D world, it's
All right, and then let's jump over here and do the same thing on this side. And we need new intersections for these ones, or sorry, new signal heads for these ones because they need to be connected to intersection 2. So let's go to signal head 1. Let's rename that to signal head 1B and signal head 2B. So 1 will be for the east-west traffic, and 2B will be for the other ones. And 1B, let's make that linked to intersection 2, phase 1 off on the signal. And then I think we've got some over here. And then 2B, we need to make sure it's linked to intersection 2, go phase 2, signal off.
Civil engine space. We're building bridges through the sky, Washington, our spirits flow. Sense the light to watch like it's a can light, those so cruising for house and above. Of the land is in love, and everybody young, of the land of Am, hold it earned upon.
Alright, so now we need to go, I need to save it first, and then I need to go in the base model submesh components and turn off the red, yellow, green, so that doesn't conflict with our model. So do that, go to the hierarchy, go to base models, drop down. We've got a bunch of different things, but I think this one's pretty far down.
This is go to shoot with the earth above. Yo, every roundabout stands with the purpose refined.
Alright, and you're going to want to organize those in folders and turn off the, or lock them so that your selector icons don't show up all over. Alright, so I still have a few more intersection controllers over here. Not as much going on. So I'm going to do those, and then I'll jump back in and we're going to wrap this up. There's a lot that we could do on this, but we're focusing on these two intersections on either side. This, I believe it's 516 on this north end, and then the double roundabout on the south end, and then a little bit in between. But a lot of the rest of this model we're not going to get super detailed with. And so I'm going to just clean up these last few intersections, and then I'll come back to close this up. All right, so this wraps up this Civil Visualizing with Sam. This was definitely my most ambitious so far, thanks to this great model from our friends over at Verge, Kurt and Ron. Shout out to them. This took me somewhere between 8 and 10 hours total. So you can expect to spend a lot of time if it's a big project, maybe even more than this. But I don't know how many of you are going to be doing 5-mile long corridors like we have here. So obviously these renders turned out so amazing. The real-time performance dropped toward the end. That'll get better as I'm able to run this project in an executable rather than in the Unreal Engine editor like I've been doing. And also I like to do 4K, which limits the performance as well. That's just a personal preference. I want these videos to be as clear as possible. So this is how it turned out, 8 to 10 hours, Civil Visualizing with Sam. I really appreciate you joining me in these videos, and I will see you in the next one.
We make our families proud.
Concrete jungles thriving, where ideas ignite. Taking the vision from the dark into the light. From Seattle's trees through the mountains and embrace. Civil engine united with carbon and space.
We're staring through the vision as the Brooklyn survive in Washington State. The dreams we realize.